Hello conservation divers, and welcome back to this video series on how to open up your own training center. And as we talked about in the last video, this series kind of provides you with a bit of a roadmap in how to go through that process. And as I go through this roadmap, I will also tell you about the other videos we have that go into a bit more detail. So today's video is about getting your training. And so this is kind of the stuff you need to do before you can become an instructor or before you even start to kind of develop your business. Basically just learning all that conservation diver does, how do our projects work, what's the theory and the scientific evidence behind the techniques and the methods that we use, when and where to use certain techniques or methods to achieve optimized success, and also just so that you can get practice that you need, make the connections with other students and instructors to start creating your own network within conservation diver. And so this is really the most important part of this whole process, is really getting your training, and you should really spend a lot of time in this process. I would say don't try to rush it. Make it take as long as possible. The biggest question that we usually get is, how long will this process take? And so in order to answer that question, I first have to kind of describe the different routes that people might be coming through in order to go through this step. So the two main routes is people are either divers and students of our programs who then decide they want to become instructors. So we'll call this the divers side. And then we also have researchers, scientists and other ecologists or biologists who hear about our programs and then want to use our certification system and our techniques both to improve what they're doing and to create a independent funding stream to support their projects. So with the diver group, the first thing is just going through the student level courses. Now, this can take, on average, about 4 weeks. So you're going to start going through the EMP, the Ecological Monitoring Program. That's going to teach you how to do the research and the monitoring. And it's really going to start to form your intimate relationship with the coral reef. It's going to increase your understanding about what's going on under the water. For me, this is the most important part of this whole process. Because if you're not doing monitoring and if you don't really understand what's going on in your particular ecosystem, and I mean on a reef by reef basis or even parts of the reef, even if you're on an island, every individual part of that reef has unique needs and threats towards it. So gaining that understanding, if you're not gaining that understanding, then you really shouldn't be involved in all the other programs that we're doing, which are addressing a lot of those issues that are identified during that monitoring course. So after you go through that monitoring course and you really learn how to understand and take data on your reef and then really view it on a scientific and evidence-based level, then we can start to go into some of the other techniques, the coral restoration, the different organisms like the nudibranchs or the coral predators, and all those types of specialty courses that we have that are either protecting or restoring or involved in further research of those organisms. So that usually takes about 4 weeks to get that education and knowledge for most divers who are, starting from zero or have some preliminary knowledge of biology and ecology, but maybe have never done this with coral reefs or in our program specifically. From there, after that 4 weeks, they then move on to the internship program. This can be anywhere from 2 to 3 months. Again, the longer you can stay, the better. This is where you're really going to develop your experience and your confidence to teach. With the internship program, you're going out every day with the student group, which you've just graduated out of, and you're helping them. So you're filling in, the gaps in knowledge after the lectures. You're assisting on the boat with the equipment setup, the planning of the dives, the execution of the underwater work. You'll be taking a leadership role in the surveys, in the restoration and protection work being done. This is where you really develop your confidence and also where you start to really develop your style of teaching and understanding of what the programs you're going to be able to implement in your local area when you return. So the internship, really important. The other main thing that you're going to get out of the internship, which is kind of indirect, is all the friends that you'll make. As you go through the internship program, you're going to go through with other people, and these people are also, some of them, going to end up being conservation diver instructors. These are going to be the people that maybe end up assisting you in starting your training center, or end up working at your training center, or sharing knowledge through the future as they open up their own training centers. They can report to you the new projects they're doing and how they're working, or sharing of resources like student groups, booking organizations, and even individual students like, hey, you just finished my program, go check out my friend's program, kind of thing. So you really utilize this internship time. Now, following that internship time is then when you would then go off to start your own. For the researchers, it's going to be a slightly different path than the divers. These are people who are already involved in local ecosystem management, coral reef conservation, teaching. They already have established programs and they're trying to improve them or become part of the conservation diver network. For those people, there's a lot less time spent in the actual courses section that first 4 weeks, and generally they don't need to spend 2 or 3 weeks in our programs doing an internship, 2 or 3 months doing an internship. For those individuals, we will generally kind of do a customized program, look at what they're already doing and what they want to achieve, and try to set up kind of a tailored course towards them, lasting anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks or months, depending on their unique situation. So if you're coming with us with a bit more experience or already have established some center already, then we will work closely with you to figure out what your needs are and how we can fulfill those. So that basically outlines what you'll need to do in order to start to achieve your education. The details of this will vary depending on the center you're at. And so if you need more information on this, you should look for the videos that we have from those individual centers. So if you want to go to Thailand, you might look for videos from Raul or Kirsty. Nicaragua will have George or Molly making videos, and also with the Azores will be George. And then in Indonesia will be videos from Leon. And so that'll give you a bit more information about getting that education. And then in the next video, we're going to go through how do you actually go to approach a dive school. And so we look forward to you joining us in that next video, and hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your